All glories to Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. All glories to Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrta Madhya Lila, Chapter 15, Text 278. Sumi Krishna Krishna Bali Amogha Utila Premonandi Matahana Nachite Lagila. After hearing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and being touched by him, Amogha, who was on his deathbed, immediately stood up and began to chant the holy name of Krishna. Thus he became mad with ecstatic love and began to dance emotionally. (279) Kampa asru kulaka stamba sveta svara banga Prabhu hase dekitara premera taranga. While Amogha danced in ecstatic love, he manifested all the ecstatic symptoms: trembling, tears, jubilation, trance, perspiration, and a faltering voice. Seeing these waves of ecstatic emotion, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began to laugh. 280. Prabhura charane dhari karaye vinaya aparadha kshama more prabhudaya maya. Amogha then fell before the Lord's lotus feet and submissively said, "O merciful Lord, please excuse my offense." 281. Ehi chara muketo mara karinu nindane itabali apanagali chadaya apane. Not only did Amogha beg the Lord's pardon, but he also began slapping his own cheeks, saying, "By this mouth I have blasphemed you." 282. Chadaite chadaite galafula ila ate dari gopi nata charya nishedhila. Indeed, Amogha continued slapping his face over and over until his cheeks were swollen. Finally, Gopinathacharya stopped him by catching hold of his hands. 283. Prabhu vasvashanakare sparshitara gatra sarvabhoma sambandhe tumi bore sneha patra. After this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu pacified Amogha by touching his body and saying, "You are the object of my affection because you are the son-in-law of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya." 284. Sarvabhauma gridhe dasa dasiye kukura seha mora priya anya jana rahu dura. Everyone in Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's house is very dear to me, including his maids and servants and even his dog, and what to speak of his relatives. 285. Aparadha nahi sada laho Krishna nama etabali prabhu aila sarvam bomastana. Amogha always chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and do not commit any further offenses. After giving Amogha this instruction, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Sarvabhauma's house. 286. Prabhu dekhi Sarvabhauma dharila charane Prabhu tanre alingiya vashila ashane. Upon seeing the Lord, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya immediately caught hold of his lotus feet. The Lord embraced him and then sat down. 287. Prabhu kahe amogha sishu kibatara dosha kene upasvasakara kene kararosa. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu pacified Sarvabhauma, saying, "After all, Amogha, your son-in-law, is a child, so what is his fault? Why are you fasting and why are you angry?" 288. Utasnana karadeka jagannatha mukha Shigra asibo shanakara tabe murasuka. Just get up and take your bath and go see the face of Lord Jagannath. Then return here to eat your lunch. In this way I shall be happy. 289. Tavatrahiba ami etaya vishaya yavatna kai betumi prashadha ashiya. I shall stay here until you return to take Lord Jagannath's remnants for your lunch. 290. Prabhupada Dharibata Kahite Lagila Marita Amogatari Kenaji Yaila. Catching hold of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lotus feet, the Bhattacharya said, "Why did you bring Amoga back to life? It would have been better if he had died." 291. Prabhu kahe amogha sishu tomara balaka balaka dosha nalaya pita tahate palaka. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Amoga is a child and your son. The father does not take the faults of his son seriously, especially when he is maintaining him. 292. Eve Vaishnava Haila Tara Gela Aparadha Tara Upare Eva Karaha Prashada. Now that he has become a Vaishnava, he is offenseless. You can bestow your mercy upon him without hesitation. 293. Bhatakahe Chala Prabhu Isvara Dharashane Snanakari Tanha Muni Asichon Ekane. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, "Please go, my lord, to see Lord Jagannath. After taking my bath, I shall go there and then return." 294. Prabhu kahe gopinata ihani rahiba inho prashada paile varta amake kahiba. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then told Gopinath, "Stay here and inform me when Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya has taken his prasadam." 295. Etabali Prabhu Gela Isvara Dharashane Bhatashnana Darashana Kari Kardila Bhojane. After saying this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to see Lord Jagannath. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya completed his bath, went to see Lord Jagannath, and then returned to his house to accept food. 296. Sehi Amogha Haila Prabhura Bhakta Kanta Premena Se Krishna Nama Maya Mahashanta. Thereafter, Amogha became an unalloyed devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He danced in ecstasy and peacefully chanted the holy name of Lord Krishna. 297. Aiche Chitra Lilakari Sachira Nandana Yehi Deke Sune Tandra Vishmaya Ayamana. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed his various pastimes. Whoever sees them or hears them recounted becomes truly astonished. Aiche Bata Gridhe Kari Bhojana Vilasa Tara Madhye Nana Chitra Charitra Prakasha. Thus, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu enjoyed eating in Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's house. Within that one pastime, many wonderful pastimes were manifested. 299. Sarvabhauma Gare E Bhojana Charita Sarvabhauma Prema Yanha Haila Vedita. These are the peculiar characteristics of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. Thus, the Lord ate in Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's house, and in this way, Sarvabhauma's love for the Lord has become very well known. Purport. As stated in the Shakha Nirnayamrita, Amogha Panditam Vande Shri Gorenatma Satkrutam Premaga Gada Sandrangam Kula Kula Vigraham. I offer my obeisance unto Amogha Pandit, who was accepted by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. As a result of this acceptance, he was always merged in ecstatic love, and he manifested ecstatic symptoms such as choking of the voice and standing of the hairs on his body. 300. Satira Matara Prema Ara Prabhura Prashada Bhakta Sambande Yahe Shamila Aparadha. Thus I have related the ecstatic love of Sarvabhauma's wife, who is known as the mother of Sati. I have also related Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's great mercy, which he manifested by excusing Amogha's offense. He did so due to Amogha's relationship with the devotee. Purport. Amogha was an offender because he blasphemed the Lord. As a result, he was about to die of cholera. Amogha did not receive any opportunity to be freed from all offenses after being attacked by the disease, but Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and his wife were very dear to the Lord. Because of their relationship, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu excused Amogha. Instead of being punished by the Lord, he was saved by the Lord's mercy. All this was due to the unflinching love of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Externally, Amogha was Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's son-in-law, and he was being maintained by Sarvabhauma. Consequently, if Amogha were not excused, his punishment would have directly affected Sarvabhauma. Amogha's death would have indirectly brought about the death of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. (301) Shraddhakari ehi lila suneye jana achirat payasai Chaitanya Charana. Whoever hears these pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with faith and love will attain the shelter of the Lord's lotus feet very soon. 302. Sri Rupa Raghunath Pade Sri Rupa Raghunatha Pade Yara Asa Chaitanya Charitamrta Kahe Krishna Dasa. Praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishna Das, narrate Sri Chaitanya Charitamrta, following in their footsteps. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to Sri Chaitanya Charitamrta Madhya Lila, 15th chapter, describing the Lord's eating at the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Chapter 16. The Lord's attempt to go to Vrindavan. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives the following summary of this chapter in his Amrita Pravaha Bhasya. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to go to Vrindavan, Ramananda Roy and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya indirectly presented many obstructions. In due course of time, all the devotees of Bengal visited Jagannath Puri for the third year. This time, all the wives of the Vaishnavas brought many types of food, intending to extend invitations to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at Jagannath Puri. When the devotees arrived, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sent his blessings in the form of garlands. In that year, also, the Gundicha temple was cleansed, and when the Chaturmasya period was over, all the devotees returned to their homes in Bengal. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu forbade Nityananda Prabhu to visit Nilachala every year. Questioned by the inhabitants of Kulinagram, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again repeated the symptoms of a Vaishnava. Vidyanidhi also came to Jagannath Puri and saw the festival of Odana Sasti. When the devotees bade farewell to the Lord was determined to go to Vrindavan, and on the day of Vijaya Dashami, he departed. Maharaj Praptaparudra made various arrangements for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's trip to Vrindavan. When he crossed the river Chitropala, Ramananda Roy, Maharaja, and Harichandana went with him. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu requested Gadadhar Pandit to return to Nilachala, Jagannath Puri, but he did not abide by this order. From Kataka, Kutak, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again requested Gadadhar Pandit to return to Nilachala, and he bade farewell to Ramananda Roy from Bhadraka. After this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu crossed the border of Orisha state and he arrived at Panihati by boat. Thereafter, he visited the house of Raghava Pandit, and from there he went to Kumarahata, and eventually to Kulia, where he executed many offenders. Where he excused many offenders. From there, he went to Ramakeli, where he saw Sri Rupa and Sanatan and accepted them as his chief disciples. Returning from Ramakeli, he met Raghunath Das, and after giving him instructions, sent him back home. Thereafter, the Lord returned to Nilachala and began to make plans to go to Vrindavan without a companion. Text 1. Gaudadayanam Gora Megaha Sincham Svalokanam Vrutai Vamagni Dagda Janata Virudaha Samajivayat. By the nectar of his personal glance, the cloud known as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu poured water upon the garden of Gauda Desha and received the people, who were like creepers and plants burning in the forest fire of material existence. Two. Jaya Jaya Gora Chandra Jaya Nitya Nanda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gora Bhakta Vrinda. All glories to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All glories to Lord Nityananda. All glories to Advaita Chandra, and all glories to all the devotees of the Lord. 3. Prabhura Haila Icha Yaite Vrindavana Suniya Prapta Parudra Haila Vimana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu decided to go to Vrindavan, and Maharaj Prapta Parudra became very morose upon hearing this news. 4. Sarvabhauma Ramananda Anidu Vijana Dunhake Kahena Raja Vinaya Vachana. The king therefore called Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Ramananda Roy, and he spoke the following submissive words to them. 5. Niladri Chadi Prabhura Mana Anyatra Yaite Tomara Karahayatna Tanhare Rakite. Prapta Parudra Maharaj said, "Please endeavor to keep Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu here at Jagannath Puri. For now he is thinking of going elsewhere." 6. Tanhavina Ehi Raja More Nahi Bhaya Goshani Rakite Karaha Nana Upaya. Without Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this kingdom is not pleasing to me. Therefore, please try to devise some plan to enable the Lord to stay here. 7. Ramananda Sarvabhauma Duijana Stane Tabheyukti Kare Prabhu Yava Vrindavane. After this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself consulted Ramananda Roy and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, saying, "I shall go to Vrindavan." 8. Dunhe kahe ratha yatra kara dharashana kartikaile tabe kariha gamana. Ramananda Roy and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya requested the Lord to first observe the Ratha Yatra festival. Then, when the month of Kartik arrived, he could go to Vrindavan. 9. Kartika aile kahe ebe mahashita dhola yatra dekhiyao e balarita. However, when the month of Kartik came, they both told the Lord, "Now it is very cold. It is better that you wait to see the Dola Yatra festival and then go. That will be very nice." 10. Achikali kari utaya vividha upaya yarte samati nadaye vichedherabhaya. In this way they both presented many impediments, indirectly not granting the Lord permission to go to Vrindavan. They did this because they were afraid of separation from him. 11. Yajapi svatantra prabhu nahe nivarana bhakta icha vina prabhu nakare gamana. Although the Lord is completely independent and no one can check him, he still did not go without the permission of his devotees. 12. Tritiya vatsare sabhagora dhera bhakta gana nila chale chalite sabhara haila mana. Then, for the third year, all the devotees of Bengal wanted to return again to Jagannath Puri. 13. Sabe meli gila advaita charyera pashe prabhu dekhite acharya chalila ulase. All the Bengali devotees gathered around Advaita Acharya, and in great jubilation the Acharya departed for Jagannath Puri to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. 14 through 15. Yadyapi prabhuda agya godete rahite Nityananda prabhu ke prema bhakti prakashite Tatapi chalila mahaprabhure dekhite Nityanandera prema chesta ke pare bhujite. Although the Lord told Nityananda Prabhu to stay in Bengal and spread ecstatic love of God, Nityananda left to go see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Who can understand Nityananda Prabhu's ecstatic love? 16 through 17. Acharya Ratna Vidyanidhi Srivasa Ramai Vasudeva Murari Govindhari Tinabai Raghava Pandita Nija Jali Sahajana Kulina Grama Vasi Chale Patha Dorirana. All the devotees of Navadvip departed, including Acharya Ratna, Vidyanidhi, Srivas, Ramai, Vasudev, Murari, Govinda, and his two brothers Raghava Pandit, and Raghava Pandit, who took bags of assorted foods. The inhabitants of Kulinagram, carrying silken ropes, also departed. 18. Kandhavasi Narahari Sri Raghunandana Sarva Bhakta Chalitara Kekare Ganana. Narahari and Sri Raghunandana, who were from the village of Kanda, and many other devotees also departed. Who can count them? 19. Shivananda Shenakare Gati Samadhana Sabhare Palanakari Shuke Lanayana. Shivananda Sena, who was in charge of the party, made arrangements to clear the tax collecting centers. He took care of all the devotees and happily traveled with them. 20. Sabhara Sarva Karya Kare Ladina Vastana Shivananda Jane Udiya Patera Sandana. Shivananda Sena took care of all the necessities the devotees required. In particular, he made arrangements for residential quarters, and he knew the roads of Orisha. 21. Sevatsara Prabhu Dekhite Sabata Kurani Chalila Acharya Sange Achyuta Janani. That year, all the devotees' wives, Thakuranis, also went to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sita Devi, the mother of Achyutananda, went with Advaita Acharya. 22. Srivasa Pandita Sange Chalila Malini Shivananda Sange Chale Tanhara Gruhini. Srivas Pandit also took his wife, Malini, and the wife of Shivananda Sena also went with her husband. 23. Shivanandera Balaka Nama Chaitanya Dasa Tenho Chaliyate Prabhure Dekite Ulasa. Chaitanya Dasa, the son of Shivananda Sena, also jubilantly accompanied them as they went to see the Lord. 24. Acharya Ratna Sange Chale Tanhara Gruhini Tanhara Premera Kata Kahite Najani. The wife of Chandrasekhara, Acharya Ratna, also went. I cannot describe the greatness of Chandrasekhara's love for the Lord. 25. Sabata Kurani Mahaprabhu ke Bhiksha Dite Prabhuda Nana Priya Dravya Lila Gara Hoite. To offer Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu various types of food, all the wives of the great devotees brought from home various dishes that pleased Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. 26. Shivananda Senakari Sabasa Madhana Ratiyala Prabodhi Dena Sabare Vastana. As stated, Shivananda Sena made all arrangements for the party's necessities. In particular, he pacified the men in charge of levying taxes and found resting places for everyone. 27. Bhakshadiya Karena Sabara Sarvatra Palane Paramanandeyana Prabhuda Darashane. Shivananda Sena also supplied food to all the devotees and took care of them along the way. In this way, feeling great happiness, he went to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at Jagannath Puri. 28. Remunaya Asiya Kaila Gopinatha Darshana Acharya Kari Latahan Kirtana Nartana. When they all arrived at Ramuna, they went to see Lord Gopinath. In the temple there, Advaita Acharya danced and chanted. 29. Nityanandera Parichaya Sabase Vakshane Bahuta Samanasi Kailase Bhakgane. All the priests of the temple had been previously acquainted with Sri Nityananda Prabhu. Therefore, they all came to offer great respects to the Lord. 30. Seiratri Sabha Mahanta Tahani Rahila Bharaksherani Age Sevakadharila. That night, all the great devotees remained in the temple, and the priests brought 12 pots of condensed milk, which they placed before Lord Nityananda Prabhu. 31. Shirabanti Sabhare Dila Prabhu Nityananda Shira Prashada Panha Sabhara Bhadimananda. When the condensed milk was placed before Nityananda Prabhu, he distributed the prasadam to everyone, and thus everyone's transcendental bliss increased. 32. Madhava Puri Rakata Gopala Stapana Tanhare Gopala Yeche Magila Chandana. They then discussed all the story of Sri Madhavendra Puri's installation of the Gopala deity, and they discussed how Gopala begged sandalwood from him. (33) Tanralagi Gopinata Chirachori Kaila Mahaprabhura Mukheyagi Ekata Sunila. It was Gopinath who stole condensed milk for the sake of Madhavendra Puri. This incident had been previously related by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. 34. Sehikata Sabhara Madhya Kahe Nityananda Suniya Vaishnava Mane Badila Ananda. This same narration was again related by Lord Nityananda to all the devotees, and their transcendental bliss increased as they heard the story again. Purport. The words Mahaprabhu Mukhe from the mouth of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are significant because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu first heard the story of Madhavendra Puri from his spiritual master, Sripad Ishvara Puri. See Madhya Lila chapter 4, verse 18. After staying at Sri Adwaita's house in Shantipur for some time, the Lord narrated the story of Madhavendra Puri to Nityananda Prabhu, Jagadananda Prabhu, Damodar Pandit, and Mukunda Dasa. When they went to Ramuna, to the temple of Gopinath, he described Madhavendra Puri's installation of the Gopala deity, as well as Gopinath's stealing the condensed milk. Due to this incident, Lord Gopinath became well known as Churo Chora, the thief who stole condensed milk. 35. Ehi mata chali chali kataka ahila Sakshi Gopala deki sabe sedina rahila. Walking and walking in this way, the devotees arrived at the city of Kataka, where they remained for a day and saw the temple of Sakshi Gopal. 36. Sakshi Gopal Virakata Kahe Nityananda Suniya Vaishnava Mane Badila Ananda. When Nityananda Prabhu described all the activities of Sakshi Gopal, transcendental bliss increased in the minds of all the Vaishnavas. For these activities, refer to Madhya Lila chapter 5, verses 8 through 138. 37. Prabhu ke milite sabhara utta kantantare sigraha kari aila sabe shri nila chale. Everyone in the party was very anxious at heart to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, they hastily went on to Jagannath Puri. 38. Atharana lake aila goshani suniya Dui mala pataila govindhate diya. When they all arrived at a bridge called Atharatnala, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, hearing the news of their arrival, sent 2 garlands with Govinda. 39. Dui mala Govinda dui jane paraila Advaita vaduta goshani bada sukha paila. Govinda offered the 2 garlands to Advaita Acharya and Nityananda Prabhu, and they both became very happy. 40. Tahani arambha kaila Krishna sankirtana Nachite kali Nachite chali Aila dui jana. Indeed, they began chanting the holy name of Krishna on that very spot, and in this way, dancing, Advaita Acharya and Nityananda Prabhu reached Jagannath Puri. 41. Punamala diyasvarupadi nijagana Agubari Pataila Sachira Nandana. Then for a second time, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sent garlands through Swarup Damodar and other personal associates. Thus they went forward, sent by the son of Mother Sachi. 42. Narendra Asiyata Hansa Bhare Me Lila Mahaprabhura Datamala Sabhare Paraila. When the devotees from Bengal reached Lake Narendra, Swarup Damodar and the others met them and offered them the garlands given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. 43. Simhadvara Nikataila Suni Gora Raya Apane Ashiya Prabhu Nilila Sabaya. When the devotees finally reached the Lion Gate, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard the news and personally went to meet them. 44. Sabhalana Kaila Jaga Natadara Shana Sabhalana Ila Punaha Upana Bhavana. Then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all his devotees visited Lord Jagannath. Finally, accompanied by them all, he returned to his own residence. 45. Vaninata Kasi Misra Prashada Anila Sahaste Sabare Prabhu Prashada Kayaila. Vaninath Roy and Kasi Misra then brought a large quantity of prashadam, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu distributed it with his own hand and fed them all. 46. Purvavatsare Yandra Yeiva Sastana Tahansa Bapatana Karaila Vishrama. In the previous year, everyone had his own particular residence, and the same residences were again offered. Thus they all went to take rest. 47. Ehimata Bhaktagana Rahila Charimasa Prabhura Sahita Kare Kirtana Vilasa. For 4 continuous months, all the devotees remained there and enjoyed chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. 48. Purvavat Rata Yatra Kala Yabe Ahila Sabhalana Gundicha Mandira Prakashila. As in the previous year, they all washed the Gundicha temple when the time for Ratha Yatra arrived. 49. Kulina Grami Pata Dhori Jagannate Dila Purvavadrata Gre Naratana Karaila. The inhabitants of Kulinagram delivered silken ropes to Lord Jagannath, and as previously they all danced before the Lord's car. 50. Mahunritya Karipuna Chalila Udyane Vapitire Tahanyai Karila Vishrame. After dancing a great deal, they all went to a nearby garden and took rest beside a lake. 51. Radhi Eka Vipratenho Nityananda Dasa Mahabhagyavantenho Rama Krishna Dasa. A Brahmana named Krishna Dasa, who was a resident of Radha Desha and the servant of Lord Nityananda's, was a very fortunate person. 52. Gathabari Prabhura Tenho Abhishekaila Tanra Abhisheke Prabhu Mahatripta Haila. It was Krishna Das who filled the great water pot and poured it over the Lord while he was taking his bath. The Lord was greatly satisfied by this. 53. Balagandi Bhogira Bahu Prashada Ila Sabhasange Mahaprabhu Prashada Kaila. The remnants of food offered to the Lord at Balangandi then arrived in great quantity, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all his devotees ate it. Purport. In reference to Balagandi, see Madhya Lila 13.193. 54. Purvavatrata yatra kaila parashana hera panchami yatra deke lana bhakta gana. As in the previous year, the Lord with all the devotees saw the Ratha Yatra festival and the Hera Panchami festival as well. 55. Acharya Goshani Prabhura Kaila Nimantrana Tara Madhe Kaila Yaiche Jara Varishana. Advaita Acharya then extended an invitation to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and there was a great rainstorm connected with that incident. 56. Vishtari Varniyachena Dasa Vrindavana Srivasa Prabhure Tabe Kaile Nimantrana. All these episodes have been elaborately described by Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur. Then, one day, Srivas Thakur extended an invitation to the Lord. Purport. The Chaitanya Bhagavata, Antya Kand, Chapter 9, gives the following description. One day, Srila Advaita Acharya, having extended an invitation to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, thought that if the Lord came alone, he would feed him to his great satisfaction. It then so happened that when the other sannyasis were going to Advaita Acharya's to take lunch, there was a big rainstorm and they could not reach his house. Thus, according to Advaita Acharya's desires, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came alone and accepted the prasadam. Thus ends our reading for today. All glories to Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj Ki Jai. All glories to Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Nirmala Charya Maharaj Ki Jai. Dandavat Shanta Maharaj. Are you still on the train, Maharaj?